Linda was 23 years old and convinced that she was the most beautiful girl in the world. Her dark skin glowed like polished bronze, and her long legs turned heads wherever she went. Men whispered when she passed by. Women stared. She liked it that way. From a young age, she had been told how pretty she was, and she believed it with all her heart. She lived with her parents in a small but decent 3-bedroom flat in Benin City. Her father, a retired civil servant, was quiet and disciplined. Her mother, a petty trader, doted on Linda more than her other children. Her beauty was her pride. Linda didn't bother looking for a job after school. She believed her looks were enough to get her whatever she wanted in life. She spent her days doing makeup to beautify herself and her nights attending parties. Every weekend, she was in different hotel rooms with different men. Some were married, others were single, but they all had one thing in common: money. Linda believed love was for poor people. Why fall in love when I can fall in wealth? She would say, laughing with her friends. She didn't want commitment. She wanted comfort, designer bags, and vacation pictures to post online. One evening, Linda sat in a fancy restaurant with a married man named Chief Bensi. He had just gifted her a phone and 200,000 naira cash. She smiled sweetly. Even though she didn't like him much, she had already planned to block his number by morning. She had another date later lined up for that night with a younger man who ran a car business. He promised to take her to Dubai. She wasn't in love with any of them. They were just means to an end. Her friend Sandra once asked, "Linda, don't you ever think about settling down?" Linda rolled her eyes. Settling down with who? One broke guy who will be telling me to manage sachet milk and pap? Abeg o. By now, Linda had lost count of the numbers of men she had dated. Some wanted to marry her, others just wanted a good time, but none could hold her attention for long. She lived for the thrill of the chase and the gifts that came with it. One Sunday afternoon, Linda was on her way to a birthday party when the taxi she had boarded had a flat tire. She stepped out, frustrated. A few minutes later, a young man pulled over in an old Peugeot car. He got down, smiled and offered to help. "I am Effa," he said politely. "Let me help you." Linda looked at him over. He wasn't bad looking, just simple. Blue kaftan Ankara, worn-out shoe. She almost declined, but allowed him. She hopped into his old rickety Peugeot car. "Thank you," she said, avoiding eye contact. "No problem. I just hope you are okay now." He didn't ask for her number. That surprised her. Most men begged for her contact, even before helping. 2 days later, she ran into him again at a pharmacy. This time, he smiled again and greeted her warmly. "You again?" She smiled and laughed. "The world is small," he replied. "Can I buy you a drink?" She agreed just for fun. That evening, they had a drink at a quiet bar. He told her he was an accountant, an only child of a widowed mother. Linda found him easy to talk to. There was something calm and refreshing about him. Weeks passed, and Linda began seeing Effa more often. He wasn't rich, but he was kind. He bought her food, helped her run errands, and even took care of her when she felt sick. She didn't stop seeing other men, but something about Effa made her keep him around. Maybe it was his gentleness, or maybe she liked being admired without pressure. One day, she missed her period. Then another. A home test kit confirmed it. She was pregnant. Linda was furious. She hadn't planned this. She called Effa and screamed over the phone, "I can't have this baby. You better do something. I don't want this." Effa came over, shaking. "Linda, please. This is our baby. I know it wasn't planned, but let's keep it. I am the only child my mother has. If anything happens to me, I don't care about your mother, Linda snapped. He knelt before her. Please, I will marry you. Let's do the right thing. His tears shocked her. No man had ever begged her before. Reluctantly, she agreed to keep the pregnancy, not because she wanted to, but because she didn't want drama. Effa organized a small traditional marriage. His mother was overjoyed. Linda looked beautiful in her wrapper and beads, but her heart was elsewhere. She smiled for pictures, but frowned in private. She moved in with Effa. The house was small. No AC, no marble floor, just a fan, a bed. She hated it. As her belly grew, so did her bitterness. Efa tried his best. He bought her fruits, massaged her feet, and took her for checkups. But Linda was always angry. Is this the life you want me to live? She would yell. No generator, no television, nothing. I should have followed Chief Benson. Effa would sit quietly, ashamed and hurt. Then came the day of delivery. Linda screamed through labor. After hours, she gave birth to twin girls. Effa cried tears of joy. His mother danced around the hospital. But Linda just lay still, staring at the ceiling. She felt nothing for the babies. No joy, no connection. She felt trapped. That night, while the nurses tended to the twins, Linda turned her face to the wall and whispered, "This can't be my life." Caring for one baby was hard. Two was war. Effa barely slept. At night, the twins woke up at different times, crying for food or attention. During the day, they either swelled their diapers or cried non-stop. Linda refused to help. "They are your children too now," Effa would beg. "I didn't ask for twin," she would snap. "In fact, I didn't ask to have a baby at all." Linda grew more distant. She hardly touched the babies or smiled at them. She spent most of her time on her phone, scrolling and complaining about her life. Effa did everything: feeding, birthing, changing diapers, rocking them to sleep. He carried one baby on his chest and strapped the other on his back. Neighbors sometimes helped, but it wasn't enough. Linda had lost all interest in being a wife or a mother. She stopped cooking and doing house chores. She constantly insulted Effa, calling him a loser. "Is this the life you planned for me? Poor man like you. If not for this pregnancy, do you think I would look your way twice?" Effa tried to stay calm for the sake of the children, but every day felt like survival. One morning, when the twins were just 6 months old, Linda dressed up and said she was going to the market. Effa didn't think much of it. She hardly did anything for the family, so it was surprising to him as she wanted to go shopping, but he was happy regardless. He waited all day. By evening, she hadn't returned. He called her phone, switched off. He called again and again, nothing. By the next day, panic set in. He visited her friends. No one had seen her. He reported to the police. They took a statement, but didn't show much interest. After all, she was an adult. Effa went to the hospital, to the mortuaries, asking for any unknown female body had been brought in. He cried, he fasted, he prayed, believing that Linda would return back home. After 3 weeks, he finally accepted the painful truth. Linda had left him and the babies. He cried that night while holding the twin. "She left us, but I won't. I promise." Raising the girls alone was not a choice. It was his only option. Effa had to stop working. His accounting job didn't allow working from home, and he couldn't afford a nanny. He turned the small living room into a laundry service point. He washed clothes for neighbors, ironed them, and delivered them when the twins were asleep or being washed by his aging mother. Money was tight. He skipped meals to buy baby formula. He wore old clothes so the girls could have diapers. Some nights, the three of them shared gari and granuts, but he never complained. He sang to them, told them stories, and called them his queens. Effa began to lose weight. He rarely slept. His back ached from washing clothes and carrying the girls. He developed eye bags and constant headache. Yet, he pushed on. Neighbors pitied him. One woman occasionally cooked extra food and gave it to him. A tailor offered to sew clothes for the twin free of charge. His mother also helped, but she was too weak to do much. Still, Effa remained hopeful. They will grow. They will not suffer forever, he often told himself. Some friends suggested he take the twin to a motherless baby home. Over my dead body. How will you even say that? He replied. These are my daughters. I will raise them. Others suggested he married a new wife, but he vehemently refused. Effa slowly built his laundry business. He became known in the area as the trustworthy laundryman with twin daughters. Customers increased and so did his income. He bought a second-hand washing machine and fixed a small signboard outside. When the girls were old enough to crawl, he built a little play area for them in the shop corner. He learned how to feed them mashed beans and soft yam. He braided their tiny hair. He wiped their tears and taught them how to walk. When one of them fell ill, he stayed awake all night, pressing wet towel on her forehead. He used herbal mixture when he couldn't afford drugs. His life revolved around Ada and Uju. He talked to them as if they were adults. You girls are stars, he would say. One day, you will shine. Though the days were long and the nights lonely, Effa held on to love and sacrifice. He knew that someday the pain will be worth it. While Effa struggled with diapers and laundry, Linda was in Lagos living a completely different life. She had moved in with a friend who introduced her to club owners, show promoters, and wealthy men. Her looks still opened doors. Her gallery were filled with flawless selfies, designer clothes, and hotel check-ins. She told everyone she was single and childless. She had erased her past. From one hotel to another, Linda entertained men for money. She became known in nightlife cycle. She drank expensive champagne and danced in VIP lounges like she had no worries in the world. But inside, she was restless. No man wanted to marry her. Some used her, others abandoned her still. She told herself she deserved more. She wanted luxury, not diapers and sleepless nights. One day, her friend asked, "Don't you miss your babies?" Linda shrugged. "They are with their father. He can manage them. I don't even care. Me? I can't come and die, oh." She didn't know their names. She didn't care if they were sick or hungry. As far as she was concerned, her beauty was a way out of poverty, and children were distractions. Back in Benin, Effa girls were growing fast. Ada was gentle and quiet. Uju was lively and curious. By age 3, they could count, recite rhymes, and say, "Daddy, I love you." Effa had enrolled them in a small nursery school. He paid in bits, sometimes offering laundry services in exchange for school fees. The teachers admired his dedication. One of the teachers, Miss Kemi, once said, "You are doing what many mothers cannot even do." Effa smiled. tired but proud. They are my responsibility. They didn't ask to be born, he replied. He rented a small second room in their flat and turned it into a bedroom for the girls. Every night, he read them bedtime stories and kissed their forehead. He never told them about their mother. He didn't want them to grow up bitter. But sometimes, when they asked, "Daddy, where is our mommy?" he would look away and say, "She went far away." By the time the twins turned 10, Effa laundry business had grown. He now had two apprentices and a delivery bike. He saved money slowly and bought a plot of land on the outskirts of town. With the help of community members and small loan, he began building a small bungalow. It was not easy for Effa, as most times he worked extra hours just to make sure to put roof over his children. The girls always showed up at his laundry shop to assist their father in the little way they can, and this gave them more time to bond, and Effa was always excited. They were his world. He declined advances from women, even those who liked him. "I don't want any distraction. My girls come first," he always said. Some nights, he cried silently. He missed companionship. He missed hanging out with his friends. But he never regretted choosing his daughters over anything else. Meanwhile, Linda's life had begun to lose its shine. At 32, the glow was fading. Her skin had lost its freshness. Her beauty treatments were expensive, and the competition was now for younger girls. She eventually met a businessman, Tony, who agreed to marry her. She saw it as her second chance. They got married in a small court wedding. Linda bore him a daughter and they named her Grace. But the marriage was nothing like she imagined. Tony was rich, but he was very stingy, strict, and cold. He didn't like Linda going out. He made sure to restrict her movements. He rarely came home, and when he did, they fought. He never touched their child. "Don't you know taking care of the child is the mother's duty? That is why I work very hard to put food on the table. Stop complaining," Tony would always say. Linda's dream of living a luxurious life crashed, as her life was like a person inside the river but had soap in her eyes. Tony's wealth was for her viewing and not touching. When she fell sick, her body was weak and her energy drained. Tony packed his bags for days and only showed up after a week, claiming he had gone for a very important business trip. Meanwhile, Effa managed to train his daughters through secondary school, and they finally got admission to study in the university. Effa was a proud father who always visited his girls in school, making sure they were fine. However, tragedy struck. One day, the girls received a worrisome call from the hospital that their father had been involved in a ghastly motor accident. Ada and Uju took the next available bus back to Benin. On getting to the hospital, they met their father unconscious in the hospital bed. They were asked to pay a certain amount of money in order for the doctor to proceed with treatment and further carry out a surgery on him. "Ada, what do we do?" Uju asked with tears flowing from her eyes. "I don't know. We have no money." And so, Ada and Uju went to their father's friend to beg for financial assistance. But no one seemed to have enough money. They even complained of not even eating. Ada and Uju were frustrated. What were they going to do? Their father was lying unconscious and they had no much time. And so they decided to sell their father's washing equipment in his laundry shop. And they also sold their television just to raise money. The money they raised was not enough, but they needed to make a down payment. And so they made a down payment at the hospital. The doctor requested for a blood donation. Ada and Uju gladly agreed on donating blood to their father. They waited at the waiting area in the hospital, hoping to hear when the surgery was going to be carried out. But the doctor called them into his office. Sorry, you cannot donate blood to him because your blood types are incompatible. The twin looked at themselves. No, doctor, there must be a mix up somewhere. It's not possible. That man is our father. And so the doctor gave them a benefit of doubt and carried out the test over again. But the result remained the same. The doctor swallowed hard. But I am sorry. The result here shows that your blood are incompatible. Udu stood up. What do you mean? That man is our father. The doctor looked at them. But I am sorry. It doesn't completely seem so. Ada and Uju looked at themselves as various thoughts ran through their mind. What do you think would happen to their father in coma? And what decision do you think the ladies would make on finding out this new discovery? We will continue this story in our next episode. Thank you for watching. Kindly like this video please and subscribe to this channel if you're not already subscribed for an update. Share this video to your loved ones until I come your way again. For now, from me, it is bye.